Hello, adrenaline lovers. Welcome to Caught on Dashcam, the place where speed meets action. Get ready for high-speed chases, insane motorcycle moments, and heart-pounding escapes, all caught on camera. If you're ready for non-stop thrill, buckle up, stay locked in, and let's dive straight into the chaos. On June 5th, 2022, an officer observed a motorcycle traveling recklessly. The officer attempted a traffic stop, but the rider fled at high speed, initiating a pursuit.
Did you say it's our helicopters up?
We're going to be passing main and terrace now.
The motorcycle exited the interstate and continued fleeing through city streets, weaving through traffic and driving the wrong way.
Coming up on flat roads, letting pass flat roads. I believe he's trying to get off that flat road. Passing flat shows down.
Right.
Gonna be passing Gresham.
Passing Gresham.
The rider re-entered the interstate and continued eastbound at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. Trooper Freeman eventually lost contact, but Corporal Smith picked up the pursuit near Candler Road.
Tag number X-ray Lincoln 032 XL 0342 XL 0342 left lane. What's your next secondary? Stand by. We're coming up on it now. Let's see. Coming up on Boulder Crest. About a mile from Boulder Crest, southbound. Air pressure Boulder Crest southbound. I'm going to cut you off after you make your first 75. Going northbound on Jonesboro Road. Right. Hey, wait, right. He's going. Slow down. Pull over. He's stopping. He's stopping. Get off the bike. Get off the bike. Get off the bike and get off. Get off the bike and get off. Get down.
The rider exited onto Jonesboro Road and began to slow down. Corporal Smith safely brought the pursuit to an end and placed the suspect into custody without further incident.
Stop, lie on the ground, lie on the ground, lie on the ground, on the ground.
While patrolling, the officer noticed a motorcyclist speeding without any protective gear. The officer attempted a routine stop, but the rider decided to flee. The pursuit escalated with both the suspect and officer driving at high speeds, navigating sharp turns. The suspect forced the officer to think quickly, trying to figure out how to bring the chase to an end.
Follow. The direction down. And Golf 3542. Daniel Saragu is in the middle, it's us.
The suspect was driving recklessly through the streets of Brazil, showing no intention of stopping and making things more difficult for both himself and the officer. If he had just stopped, he would have only received a ticket, but now, his actions will land him in jail.
Ah. Stop, 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 stop. Stop, 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 stop. Stop, 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 stop.
The pursuit ended when the suspect realized he couldn't evade the officer any longer. He stopped and surrendered. The officer placed him in handcuffs, booked him into jail, and brought the pursuit to a close. On March 25, 2025, Trooper Smith observed a motorcycle traveling at dangerously high speeds. When the trooper attempted a traffic stop, the rider immediately fled, initiating a pursuit. The motorcyclist weaved through traffic, pushing the limits and showing no signs of slowing down.
I'll give it 15 stitches on my over the shoulder.
The motorcyclist pushed the limits, reaching speeds of 100 miles per hour or more. But would his plan to escape work? That remained to be seen. At that moment, the motorcyclist made a sudden U-turn and gained a brief advantage. However, the officer quickly closed the gap and was back on his tail. The pursuit ended when the officer made contact with the motorcycle, knocking the rider to the ground. The officer immediately exited his vehicle, placed the suspect in handcuffs, and brought the chase to a close. On July 4, 2024, an officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop on a reckless motorcyclist. However, the rider fled the scene, sparking a high-speed pursuit. The suspect accelerated, reaching speeds of 130 miles per hour in an attempt to evade the officer. However, the officer also increased speed and remained in pursuit. The suspect briefly gained distance, nearly slipping out of the officer's sight. However, the officer managed to maintain visual contact and continued the pursuit. Once the suspect re-entered the highway, he accelerated to very high speeds, driving recklessly and weaving through traffic, nearly causing collisions. But it didn't last long. The officer quickly closed the gap and was right on his tail. After pulling off a double U-turn, the suspect was clearly hoping to lose the officer, but what happened next was unbelievable. Stay tuned. The motorcyclist lost control and crashed. The officer quickly exited the patrol vehicle and placed the suspect into handcuffs without further incident. On January 17, 2023, officers observed a motorcycle without license plates. When they attempted to initiate a traffic stop, the rider refused to stop and fled the scene. The suspect fled at speeds of around 80 miles per hour. Since the motorcycle wasn't particularly fast, officers were able to catch up without much difficulty. The pursuit ended when the suspect collided hard with a swerving pickup truck. The officer immediately called for medical assistance. After receiving treatment at the hospital, the suspect was arrested for driving without license plates and fleeing from law enforcement. On May 3, 2023, Trooper Escamilla attempted to stop a motorcycle for reckless driving, but the rider fled, initiating a pursuit.
Going 1024 on a motorcycle, 4701, 59. Unknown license plate. It's going to be 1037. We're going to be 1037. Getting ready to get on 440 East.
The suspect, noticing the police vehicle behind him, hit the gas pedal, reached high speeds, and tried to evade the officer.
Just got on 440 East. No traffic. Speeds are 70. Unknown race male. It's going to be an overall gray shirt. East at the 11, speed 115.
The pursuit reached speeds of 130 miles per hour, which was extremely dangerous, especially since it was night and visibility was limited. Fortunately, traffic wasn't that heavy, giving the officer a bit of an advantage.
Continuing south on Highway 161, speeds 80. We're going to be approaching 40 here shortly.
The suspect was driving recklessly, weaving through traffic and making it difficult for the officer to keep up. However, the officer remained determined, staying close behind the suspect and strategizing on how to bring the pursuit to a safe end.
14, North Interchange.
Just passed up Spring Hill. Speeds 90. No traffic.
That's Spring Hill, speed 90, no traffic.
Just passed up 67. We're coming up on some traffic here.
Probably passed up 57.
Yeah, we're coming up on some traffic here. Speeds right now are 80. It's about to be passing on shoulder shortly. Looks like we're getting ready to get 30 west. Yep, we're going to be 30 west. 30 west. 30 west.
With multiple patrol vehicles now involved, the pursuit became even more intense. The officers coordinated their movements, aiming to box in the suspect and end the chase without putting other drivers at risk. Will their teamwork be enough to stop him? Let's see what happens next.
He doesn't have a backpack or nothing, so I can't see any weapons, just pistol.
Terrible, we're about to get him boxed in. How they trying to box him in? Just stick to 4, stick to 4. Just being to 4. Crashed out? Just crashed.
The pursuit ended dramatically when the officer executed a precise maneuver, using the front bumper to strike the suspect's bike. This caused the motorcyclist to lose control and fall off. Officers quickly apprehended the suspect, placing him into custody and later booking him into jail without further incident. While patrolling the area, an officer spotted a motorcyclist speeding. He attempted to handle the situation with a routine traffic stop, but the rider chose to flee instead. The pursuit turned intense, reaching dangerous speeds of 100 miles per hour. At times, the officer was just milliseconds away from losing sight of the motorcyclist, but he stayed laser-focused throughout. There were 2 people on one motorcycle. When they crashed, one of them fled on foot but was soon caught and arrested, while the other was arrested immediately at the scene. On September 14, 2024, troopers initiated a pursuit of a red motorcycle due to high speed and an expired tag from 2018. The rider refused to stop and drove recklessly through multiple roads.
We're 10 there on a motorcycle. It's westbound Gateway. Traffic's clear. Speed is 30.
321 what? Speed is 30. 321 westbound on Gateway. This speed will take the lead. We're doing 70 miles an hour, traffic's clear, road is clear. Everyone on the start. Westbound on Gateway. This speed will take the lead. We're doing 70 miles an hour, traffic clear, road is clear. 31 of them motorcycles. Yeah.
During the chase, Thomas drove into oncoming traffic and intentionally crashed into a patrol vehicle.
Alright, let's go westbound to West McDonald. Still westbound to West Gate. Westbound, we're doing about 78 miles an hour. Traffic's clear, road is clear. It's going to be 28 out of New York. Alright, 28 is going to be 48, 10, Delta 67. 48, 10, Delta 67. Now, you just come back expired. Alright, now you're up to Low Whiskey. Low Whiskey. Westbound and eastbound. Approaching Alliance, going at 70 miles an hour. Road is clear, traffic is clear.
The suspect weaved through traffic at high speeds, ignoring red lights and putting other drivers at risk. Troopers stayed close behind, navigating tight turns and busy intersections as the pursuit intensified.
Stop on that line. Going forward,
The pursuit ended on Charleston Shores Boulevard, where troopers successfully stopped and arrested the suspect. Thomas was charged with multiple offenses and booked into Palm Beach County Jail. He had a suspended license and an active warrant. Once again in Brazil, an officer spotted a motorcycle with 2 riders and attempted to initiate a traffic stop. However, they revved the engine and took off, fleeing from the officer. The pursuit was intense, with high speeds and reckless sharp turns. The officer had to quickly think on his feet, strategizing how to bring the suspects to a stop. The pursuit ended when the officer executed a successful pit maneuver, causing the motorcycle to crash. The suspects were quickly placed in handcuffs and later booked into jail. On November 18, 2023, while patrolling, an officer noticed a reckless motorcyclist on the highway. The officer attempted a standard traffic stop, but the motorcyclist refused to comply and ignited a pursuit. The suspect reached dangerous speeds of 110 miles per hour, weaving through traffic and driving recklessly. Despite the high-risk situation, the officer remained focused and did his best to apprehend the suspect.
He'll 12, primary, taking 6 cars. Westbound 612. Coming up to the quarry. From the quarry eastbound. Westbound. Still westbound, speeds over 140.
Light traffic.
The suspect managed to evade the first patrol vehicle, but the second patrol vehicle stayed hot on his tail, maintaining close pursuit and ensuring the suspect couldn't escape for long.
Past the quarry. Sorry, kill your siren.
The pursuit ended when the officers successfully blocked the suspect's path, causing him to crash off his bike. The officers immediately placed him into handcuffs, bringing the pursuit to an absolute end. On June 5, 2024, Trooper was patrolling with K-9 gunner in Miami-Dade County when two motorcycles were spotted speeding. As Trooper and Officer Botello attempted to stop them, both motorcycles fled, running a red light.
You up where they're splitting the lanes going to the front.
Maybe you got a bicycle or a motorcycle taking off on that big speed. Going eastbound on 199 on 2nd Avenue. Hey, Norris, check with them, they're going to take over. Yeah, we're going to take over. Maybe you can get them across, please. We're good calling. I'm monitoring the radio. Hey guys, they're going east on 199. Passing northeast court.
1155.
1155.
All right, we're behind two motorcycles. Eastbound. 199.
The motorcycles reached speeds of 90 to 110 miles per hour. The male and female riders separated, and Officer Hernandez took over the pursuit of the female rider. She exited I-95 at Northwest 103rd Street, ran a red light, and continued driving recklessly, traveling against traffic on Northwest 151st Street and Northwest 7th Avenue.
I'm not sure if anybody picked up the male driver yet, but things are not riding the female in there. Southbound 95, passing 125.
Southbound approaching 125.
Southbound approaching 125, approaching 125 now.
Stay tight, guys, front of me.
Target will want to service. Copy. Taking it with the second up.
All right, I'm secondary unit now, Miami. Southbound, passing 125. Traffic is still medium. Speed's on.
Passing 125. Traffic is still medium. 111. Uniform 151.
Still northbound on 7th, CS 12 Whiskey. We are on the right side of the road. Speeds of 56 miles an hour. Approaching the glades from 7th.
In the grade from 7. Still 12 Whiskey, the subject. Troopers on the right side.
Alright, we are approaching the Parker right now. And she is just going 40 miles an hour. Alright. 23 in direction travel now.
The female rider struck the left side of the patrol vehicle, falling off the bike. She was then taken into custody. On October 13, 2022, Trooper Killian attempted to stop a black sport bike with no license plate. When the trooper activated his lights, the rider, later identified as Christopher Gaylor, sped off, initiating a pursuit.
Asher Avenue and up Howdy Way Street, speeds 80.
What direction are you going?
Going northbound. We're at Wright Avenue and Emerson Street. Speed 71, still northbound. Wright Avenue in South Pulaski, speeds above 80.
Still on Wright Avenue.
10-4.
CFS comments
headed. Gaylor reached speeds of 100 miles per hour, running multiple red lights as he fled through city streets. The chase continued onto Interstate 630 East, then onto Interstate 30 East, where he accelerated to 120 miles per hour, weaving through traffic.
We'll be taking 30 East.
East to 30 East.
CFS comments headed.
Above 111.
The suspect was driving recklessly, weaving through traffic at very high speeds.
Looks like a black male, green backpack, black helmet.
More copy of black male, green hat, or correction, green backpack and a black helmet.
Westbound, coming up on Allen Street. He's on foot. He crashed out.
Get on the ground! I'll shoot you.
Gaylor exited onto Camp Robinson Road and attempted to evade officers by riding through a parking lot and onto pedestrian walkways. He then turned onto Chandler Street, where he crashed into a grassy driveway between two houses. As Gaylor fled on foot, Trooper Duncan deployed his taser, which unexpectedly ignited flames, engulfing Gaylor. Pursuits in Brazil are always on another level, and this one was no exception. The officer spotted a motorcyclist speeding and attempted a routine stop, but the suspect chose to flee instead. The pursuit was intense, reaching dangerous speeds of approximately 100 miles per hour, putting everyone on the road at risk. The suspect was evading recklessly, showing no consideration for stopping and making things easier for both himself and the officer. If he had just stopped, he would have only received a ticket, but by fleeing, he's now heading to jail.
Balkonakiler bir harfi.
The pursuit ended when the suspect stopped, then fled on foot, but he was quickly apprehended. During a search of him and his bag, officers found a large amount of cocaine. While on patrol in Brazil, an officer observed two motorcyclists riding on a single bike without any protective gear. He attempted to initiate a routine traffic stop, but they refused to comply and began to flee. The pursuit involved sharp turns and high speeds through Brazil's congested streets and heavy traffic, but the officer remained determined and did his best to keep up.
Josino Mendes de Alvarenga, refém 2, quer sério?
Josino Mendes de Alvarenga, Pérez.
Vai, sai. Já era.
The suspects crashed and attempted to flee on foot, but multiple officers pursued them, quickly caught up, placed them in handcuffs, and made the arrest. On April 6, 2025, a sergeant on patrol spotted a black Kawasaki motorcycle flying at 70 miles per hour in a 55 zone, with no license plate in sight.
White male, blue jeans, black hoodie, black helmet, no 28. He's taking the 3. What time is that, no?
The 3, I'm going to go up here and go on the end of the door road. You got to take the 3 with you.
Looks like he's going straight up Parkview. Going on top of the hill up here.
As the sergeant tried to intercept, the motorcycle shot up to 150 miles per hour, vanishing down a hill. The rider, later identified as Benjamin Rutz, weaved dangerously through traffic, exited toward a Walmart in Alma, and led multiple officers on a high-speed pursuit, hitting 162 miles per hour.
Freaking idiot, I wrote you a warning.
Okay, Charlotte, you can probably go ahead.
Oh, so he was going back around.
Yeah, so this guy right here was pointing and said, hey, he's on the house.
I just talked to somebody. I talked to somebody right there, and said they didn't see him. So
then as soon as he said that, he was coming around the corner. And he was about to take off again. I was going to hit him right here.
Yeah.
The motorcyclist was later located at his residence, where he was apprehended and taken into custody. The officer in Brazil noticed a motorcyclist speeding through the streets. When the officer attempted to stop him, The motorcyclist had other plans and fled. The suspect was evading recklessly, speeding at extremely high rates, but the officer had to strategize how to end the pursuit. The pursuit was intense, with speeds reaching 100 miles per hour through chaotic streets. Despite the danger, the officer had no choice but to continue following the suspect. The suspect lost control and crashed, then attempted to flee on foot. The officer drew his firearm, ordered the suspect to stop, and placed him under arrest.
Deita! 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 Deita no chão! Deita no chão! Vira de costa! Vira de costa! Vira de costa! Vira de costa! Vira de costa!
Virei assim, ó.
Põe a mão pra trás.
Perdão, tá bom?
Escalate. Juliette Whisky November 5375, quer ser?
Põe as duas mãos pra trás.
Ô, boy, esse já recebeu acompanhamento, quer ser? Vamos. Devia sem capacete. Vila Natal. Vila Natal, vai embora.
Levanta.
Eu não recebo o e-mail. Ô, bom, último quer pegar aí, quer ser? Uma Hamburg no mel.
Cupom apoio, Ana Rimberg. Um indivíduo, motocicleta no chão, QSL.
Já vai encostar.
Vai.
On March 5th, 2023, While on a night shift patrol, an officer observed a reckless motorcyclist on the highway. The officer attempted to stop him without any issues, but the motorcyclist immediately fled, initiating a pursuit. The suspect was eluding at extremely high speeds, reaching approximately 100 miles per hour. This was incredibly dangerous, especially considering the traffic was somewhat heavy, making it harder for the officer to maneuver and maintain a safe pursuit distance.
Get that wrecked out. He's on the curb.
Eastbound wagon wheel.
Eastbound wagon wheel.
No truck.
10-4, no truck.
Coming up 71 distance.
10-4.
At one point, the officer briefly lost sight of the suspect, but quickly regained ground and managed to catch up with him, staying hot on his tail as the pursuit continued. The pursuit ended when the suspect lost control and crashed. The officer quickly approached, arrested the suspect, and brought the pursuit to a safe conclusion. On February 13, 2025, an officer observed a blue Honda Grom speeding on Griffin Road. The rider, wearing a blue ski mask, was traveling at 50 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. When officers attempted a traffic stop, the rider made a U-turn and began fleeing, driving in the wrong direction and weaving dangerously between vehicles. pursuit continued as the rider drove erratically across multiple lanes, ignoring verbal commands and traffic laws, eventually heading toward the I-595 on-ramp. An attempt to stop the motorcycle led to the suspect crashing into the officer's vehicle. The rider then fled on foot, but was quickly caught and taken into custody without further incident. On May 6, 2023, troopers observed a black Kawasaki Ninja traveling over 90 miles per hour. A traffic stop was attempted, but the motorcyclist ignored the signals and fled. The suspect accelerated to over 140 miles per hour, weaving through traffic and nearly striking another motorcycle while trying to flee. The pursuit ended when the suspect pulled into the emergency lane and surrendered. He was taken into custody without incident. Once again, a police pursuit unfolded from the suspect's point of view. After being caught speeding, the officer ordered him to pull over, but instead, he decided to flee. The suspect was evading at high speeds, doing everything he could to outrun the officer.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Realizing he couldn't evade the officer any longer, the suspect stopped and attempted to flee on foot through the woods. However, the officer quickly caught up with him and made the arrest. On February 6, 2025, Sergeant observed a Suzuki motorcycle speeding more than 15 miles per hour over the limit. When the sergeant attempted to stop the motorcycle, the rider, Tavares Mitchell, refused to pull over, leading to a high-speed chase. Mitchell weaved through traffic at dangerous speeds, reaching over 120 miles per hour in an attempt to evade capture. The suspect crashed and attempted to flee on foot, but the trooper quickly apprehended him. It was later discovered that he was riding without a valid license, proper registration, or insurance. This may not be a police chase, but it's definitely a high-speed pursuit, just a fun one. The officer was in pursuit of a motorcycle with no license plates. When a traffic stop was attempted, the rider hit the gas and accelerated to speeds of 108 miles per hour.
Hey, stop! What? Hey, come here! Come here! Come here! Come here!
The motorcycle pursuit ended quickly when the rider lost control and crashed. He attempted to flee on foot through the woods, but the officer caught up and arrested him.
Go right there. Don't count in a minute. All because you ain't got a license, huh? Yes, sir. That makes a lot of fucking sense. Doesn't it? No. I guess it did to you, huh? No. Well, look where we at now.
In Australia, a motorcycle pursuit unfolds from the biker's perspective. It all began when the rider was caught speeding. Two motorcyclists were fleeing from a patrol vehicle and managed to successfully evade the officer. They used the agility of their bikes to slip through tight spaces and make their getaway. In Brazil, an officer spotted two individuals riding a single motorcycle and attempted to initiate a traffic stop. The suspects refused to stop, sparking a dangerous high-speed pursuit.
Oh, God.
The suspects led the officer on a wild pursuit through narrow streets and sharp turns, but the officer remained calm and professional throughout the chase.
You lost.
The pursuit ended when the officer collided with the suspects, causing them to fall off the bike. The officer then placed both suspects in handcuffs and made the arrest. This group of bikers was enjoying their ride, performing stunts, tricks, and more, until a motorcycle officer appeared behind them and initiated a traffic stop.
After him.
This female motorcyclist was riding peacefully, enjoying her ride, when out of nowhere, two thieves on a motorcycle appeared behind her. They began following her, trying to stop her and steal her bike, but she hit the gas and took off.
Oh my God! Holy shit! I just got chased. Shit, my heart is in my mouth. Oh my God. I've never been chased. They were literally doing that to me and everything. Oh my God.
She reached speeds of over 80 miles per hour through city streets, using the agility and power of her sport bike to outmaneuver the two thieves. Let us know what you think about this intense moment. On April 6, 2025, an officer was stationary, waiting for a reported speeding black Kawasaki. The motorcycle was clocked at 162 miles per hour, prompting the officer to initiate a pursuit.
Westbound 64 282. He's getting on 40. He's at 540 north.
Due to the motorcyclist's extreme speed, he quickly evaded the officer. The pursuit was terminated as it became impossible to safely track the rider. While on patrol in Brazil, officers noticed a car parked with a broken window. Moments later, two suspicious men walked by, and the officer stopped them to see if they knew anything about the vehicle.
Gabi Shoff em frente ao cartório.
Viatura 25 não pra apoiar a abordagem.
Mano, para. Deita no chão. Deita.
Vai tirar.
Deita, cai.
Estica as pernas, filhote.
Oi?
Estica as pernas.
Nem conheço ele.
Estica as pernas.
Nem conheço ele, ó.
Vira de costas.
Não,
Vira de costas. Vira de costas. Já foi preso? Nunca foi preso? Nunca foi preso?
Fica na moral, filhote.
Fica.
Vamos lá, eu vou trocar ideia contigo agora. Ó.
Módulo. Linda, mano.
Eu acho que é isso, cara.
Vira de costa aí, mano. Vira de costa aí. Tá junto ou não tá, maluco, contigo?
The officer suspected that the two men were responsible for the broken window, which is why they arrested them immediately and placed them in handcuffs.
Joga no chão!
While patrolling in Brazil, an officer spotted a motorcyclist speeding. When the officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop, the suspect refused to comply and took off, ignoring all signals to stop. The officer briefly lost sight of the motorcyclist, but remained persistent in the pursuit and didn't give up. Moments later, the officer spotted the suspect fleeing on foot.
Ei, pega aí, ladrão, pega aí! Ei, vai, dá o negócio, joga no chão, joga no chão, filho da puta, joga no chão, devolve. Não tô roubando não, tio.
The officer caught up with the suspect, placed him in handcuffs, and later booked him into jail. On March 5th, 2025, Trooper Alexandria Duncan clocked a red Suzuki sport bike speeding through a construction zone at 110 miles per hour. As soon as the trooper activated her lights, the suspect turned off his headlights and accelerated to insane speeds, fleeing the scene. At one point, the motorcyclist reached speeds of over 140 miles per hour, weaving through traffic and even riding on the sidewalk to avoid capture. But the suspect's reckless escape attempt didn't last long. Jacob Ross lost control and crashed hard. EMS transported him to Mercy Hospital, where he was treated for serious injuries. Due to his medical condition, officers issued a felony citation, and Ross now faces multiple charges, including felony fleeing, reckless driving, and riding without a motorcycle license.
Okay, have you got it? What's your name?
On April 22, 2023, an officer observed a motorcyclist speeding and immediately initiated a traffic stop. For a moment, it appeared the motorcyclist might attempt to flee, but he ultimately complied and stopped for the traffic stop.
Step off the bike. Step off the bike. Step off the bike. Get off the bike. Step out here. Come over here. Put your hands up there. Shut your mouth. Put your hands up there. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hand. Let me see your other hand.
What am I under arrest?
Let me see your other hand. Give me your hand.
What am I under arrest?
The officer ordered the motorcyclist to get off the bike and proceeded to make the arrest. A chase between an officer and a motorcyclist ended almost immediately when the rider crashed while attempting to flee.
110, start me a unit to Roswell and 35. Put it down, put it down, put it down.
On March 12, 2025, Arkansas State Police Trooper Daniel Thass attempted to stop a black motorcycle with no license plate after it was seen speeding at extreme rates. The suspect ignored the stop and accelerated past 100 miles per hour.
10-4, we're turning on to Franklin now.
The motorcyclist weaved recklessly through traffic, narrowly avoiding multiple collisions, but somehow a crash was averted. Trooper Mason Robinson later clocked the motorcyclist at 142 miles per hour before he disappeared. Despite an intense pursuit, the motorcycle was lost from sight, and the rider remains unidentified. On May 25, 2023, an officer spotted 5 motorcyclists driving recklessly and attempted to initiate a traffic stop on the group.
I'm trying to stop a group of bikers, 5 bikes. Yeah, they got over in the right lane. They may be gonna stop here at the 80 eastbound.
10-480 eastbound.
The group initially seemed like they wouldn't stop, but moments later they pulled over and complied with the officer's commands.
Clarksville moving again. I think they're going to go to PDQ.
10-4, J15.
Infidels is the colors they're flying.
10-4, J15.
Clarksville, I've got them all stopped at PDQ 7 and I-40. I'll be out with them.
10-4, J15, 414.
The reason for the traffic stop was speeding. Bikers were clocked at 94 miles per hour. Luckily for the officer, the group didn't try to flee and chose to comply.
Huh?
We're all kind of riding together, trying
Just
to
riding together. Okay. I need driver's license, insurance from everybody. I'm stopping y'all for speeding. Trooper maintenance with the state police. I had y'all at 94 miles an hour out there.
We're trying to pass those freaking cars. They're blocking us the whole way with the semis.
License and insurance. License and insurance. Where's your tag at? I couldn't see a tag on yours.
Yeah. We're getting new license plate. It fell off.
Fell off?
Yes, sir.
So you've not ever have you registered the bike?
Yeah, it's been registered. I just don't have the plate or anything. We ended up redoing this plate cover and it just fell off.
All right, let me have your license. You got a motorcycle endorsement?
Yes, sir.
Hold on to that.
In the end, the officer issued them citations for speeding and let them go without making any arrests.
I'll make a note in the computer system for that. I changed that, but I just switched it on your deal there. I put the two bikes, switched the bikes, okay? Still the same, everything else still the same, but I'll make a note for the court that I switched that, okay?
Yeah, we're already...
Lopez, same thing, citation for speeding, 94 to 75, same court date, July 11th, 8:30 a.m. That's Polk County District Court in Russellville. The address is right there at the bottom. Phone number right there in case you have questions or if you want to try to take care of it before then.
Okay.
If it's paid before July 11th, you don't have to go to court. If it's not paid, be sure and show up for court, okay?
All right.
All right, guys, please slow down for us. Y'all be safe, okay? All right.
On February 21st, 2021, officer observed two motorcycles stop behind his patrol vehicle during a traffic stop. The riders informed him that they were being followed by a gray SUV. As they described the vehicle, it pulled in front of the patrol car and began reversing toward the officer.
Griffin. 1702 George Edward, Kentucky. 1702 George Edward. Hey! Just pulled off from me, 10-12. Southbound 218 right lane.
officer instructed the driver, later identified as Tanya Dominic Higgins, to pull over. However, she ignored the command and began fleeing, following the motorcycles. The officer activated his siren and updated dispatch while pursuing her.
Here, 215 south. Drove on the shoulder.
The driver continued to evade the officer, making erratic lane changes. At mile marker 213, she stopped and exited the vehicle. The officer commanded her to lie on the ground, which she complied with, but then tried to flee back to her vehicle. She was apprehended and placed into handcuffs.